Hello, amigos. Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for another exciting edition of, you guessed it, the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to learn. We're going to laugh. We're going to do a little bit of everything today. So I hope you guys are ready. Right now, it's time for liftoff.
T minus
10, 9,
8,
come on.
7,
Countdown
6,
with me, folks.
5, 4,
You got it.
3,
2,
1.
Oh, today we got a special show, folks.
Ignition.
Oh, I'm excited. Let's rev our engines.
Lift off.
Here we go. Roll up your sleeves. Remangate. I think. ¿Se dice así?
Get ready. Hold on to your hat. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready
For the ride of your life.
The show
With no name. Welcome, folks. Welcome.
It's the show with no name. Let's go.
That's right, folks. Welcome. Welcome, one. Welcome, all. It's time for another exciting show with no name 2.0. I trust that you guys are nice and warm. Bastante. Nice and. Lo decimos nice and. I trust. Lo digo de nuevo. I trust that you guys are nice and warm, calentitos. And I don't mean warm because it's cold outside. I mean warmed up as far as your English is concerned. And if you're not, well, that means you weren't listening to my friend Fitz's show. And in that case, you have no excuses. And that's not just the name of Fitz's show, but it's also his philosophy. All right, well, folks, welcome aboard. It's time for another exciting show with no name. I'm really happy to be here with you guys. I hope you're excited to learn, to laugh, to play, and we're going to celebrate today. We've got we celebrate something every day, but today we've got a really special celebration lined up. So I think we should kick off right away. Arrancar ahora mismo, pero hace 2 segundos. So it's time for today's pop quiz. Let's go. Come on. Pop quiz. What's it called? Pop quiz. What? Pop quiz. That's it. That's right. Pop quiz. Woo! Let's go. Hands up. Pop quiz. What's it called? Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. All right. And if you like quizzes, if you like challenges, don't forget, guys, we've got our next trivia night, our Vaughn Radio Trivia Night. It's taking place, tener lugares to take place in English. It's taking place on March 1st. It's a Wednesday, and it's hosted by the one and only Guy Williams. And my wife and I are already making arrangements, arreglando las cosas, finding a babysitter, my sister-in-law. and we're already making arrangements. Buena, si no sabes this collocation, you should know it. We're making arrangements to both be there for Guy Williams or Guy Williams's pero suena un poco raro con ese S posesivo. O sea, se puede decir Guy Williams Trivia Night como adjetivo, or Guy Williams's Trivia Night. It's like Jesus or Jesus's. Is that Jesus's car? ¿Ves? Ya cambia todo. Well, you got to add an extra syllable. So I hope you guys can make it. We're making arrangements to be there. You got plenty of time, tiempo de sobra, because March 1st, well, it's going to be coming upon us pretty quickly, but also, some of you have to make arrangements, para usarlo de nuevo, to get to Madrid. And I get it. I get it. I know Chris Valrol has made it to one of our trivia nights, and she doesn't live in Madrid. We've had people my friend Martin and his family. Now, Martin's sister lives in Madrid, but he lives in Buenos Aires, or in the suburbs of Buenos Aires, as he was telling me. So you guys are a part of something huge. Hey, you get a group of great people together, international too, because, okay, a lot of you are from Spain, but don't forget, so many of you who are with us, even who live in Spain, are not really from Spain. Me, for one, and I know many other students who are tuned in from all around the world, and I think that's awesome. So, guys, thank you for making Vaughn Radio international. If you can make it to our magical trivia night, it's March 1st. And as I said, the next one is hosted by Guy Williams, the host of Western Civilization. And I'm going to warn you, I'm going to forewarn you. Vais a estar prevenidos. I'm going to forewarn you. Guy is a very smart guy. Hemos hecho un double trouble, pero yeah, Guy is a really smart guy. So his questions are going to be tough. But as my wife said, I'm not going there to win anything. I'm going there to have some fun, have a couple beers. And I said, that's the attitude. That's why I think you should come, because obviously one of us can go. But if we both want to go, as many of you know, who are parents, well, then you need somebody to look after or to take care of your child, right? To look after. Cuidado aquí, porque hay alumnos que mezclan to take care of, okay, and to look after. Esos son cuidar de. Pero to take after es ser como, ¿no? Parecerse a. So just be careful. Vamos a apuntar. To look after somebody, to take care of somebody, es cuidar, okay? To take after, ahora es un híbrido de los dos, no lo confundamos con you take after your father, te pareces a él. And this can be physically, or this can be as far as your personality. All right. So, my amigos, we're already learning. Make sure you have a pen and a notebook, because we look at a lot of vocabulary. We look at a lot of common mistakes. We even look at pronunciation things. So when we do that, please, whenever possible, vocalize, as we say. Speak aloud. That's what, because, okay, you're all of you, there's no doubt in my mind that you're improving your listening and your comprehension, and you're gaining vocabulary every day. There's no doubt in my mind. I know it. I see it. But what I want to make sure too is, aside from that, you're also improving your speaking. But unless you're one of my students, outside of the show, I can't make sure of that unless you send us a voice message, which we have a voice message over here today. I'm excited to see who it's from. I think it'll be good. I don't know if it's somebody from back in the day or perhaps one of your classmates. So remember that too. If you want to participate in our voice messages, you can send me a message. Keep it under a minute. Remember, the idea is to share something you've learned, something interesting, in under a minute. Introduce yourself as always. Hi, it's blah, blah, blah. I wanted to say blah, blah, blah. And, keep it simple. Keep it simple. And I can help you with your pronunciation. But again, that just doing that once a month is going to be good. It's going to help you a little bit. I can help you. But really, if you vocalize, if you speak aloud every day, that's the way you're really, really going to improve the way you speak, not just your comprehension, which is obviously improving. All right, my amigos. Okay, now, before we listen to this voice message, I'm going to give you today's Twitter translation from our buddy Kyle Miller. You guys know Kyle Miller from the show Drive Time. You can catch it on Vaughn Radio every afternoon. Kyle is an amazing teacher, a great person, a hard worker, and he never misses the trivia nights. Well, he works. He's one of the partners in the restaurant group. So Kyle, aside from being a teacher, he's a restaurateur. I mean, Kyle is restless, and he's a wonderful, wonderful person and a great teacher. And here's his translation. Remember to tune in to Drive Time every afternoon on Vaughn Radio. If you can't, you can always download the podcast. All right, so cortará mejor si lo afilas. That's it. Okay, it's not too difficult. Cortará mejor si lo afilas. That is the Twitter translation. It's coming from Kyle Miller and his awesome program, Drive Time. All right, well, let's listen to our message. As I said, we got a voice message over here. I'm eager, con muchas ganas. I'm eager to find out who it's from. Are you guys as eager as I am? Tan con ganas que yo? Como yo? All right, well, then let's just listen to it. Hi, thanks for calling the show with no name. I can't get to the phone right now, so please leave a message after the tone.
Hi, Alberto. Chris Valrol speaking. Firstly, I want to say thank you for all you give us every single day, for the show with no name and my awesome classmates. As you know, some of them became friends, and it's safe to say that my life is richer since I found it out. And changing the subject, I send you a shot of a cake because I want you to know that tomorrow the cake is on me. Hopefully, I'll be able to celebrate my late birthday with you and my mates. So, see you tomorrow.
Oh my God, folks, that's your classmate and the birthday girl. I told you there were some surprises up ahead. Chris Valrol. Happy birthday, Chris. Wow, so awesome. And she sent me a picture with a cake. The cake looks delicious. When is my piece supposed to arrive in the mail? Just to keep an eye out on the mailbox. Happy birthday, Chris. I hope you have a magical day. I know you're going to have a magical day, at least for this 2-hour period, because you're going to get lots of love from me and, of course, from your fellow classmates. Let's take a look at Chris's message. By the way, excellent job. Just if I have to give you a comment overall, por encima, perfect no existe. Excellent, fantastic, Chris. You expressed yourself perfectly. I love how you were in no rush. There was urgency in what you wanted to say, but not urgency where, because sometimes when we get nervous, we tend to speak really, really fast. We speed up. No, cogemos velocidad. We don't even realize it. Okay, I've studied this shit. I studied acting, interpretación. So this is stuff. There are certain patterns that humans do, and these are studied. It's psychology, it's sociology, right? And Chris, you just the fact that you took the time to pause, you didn't bore us, but you took just the right amount of pauses at the right time. It was perfect. It was really, really well done. And I love how you said, this is Chris speaking. It's a great thing to do, because then nos evitamos el who is it? Alberto speaking depends. Obviously, if it's a telemarketer, you don't want to tell them your name. No, this is not a wrong number, and then you block those numbers, obviously. I liked how you linked your thoughts too, conectaste lo que pensabas. So you said, firstly, really nice, awesome. Just be careful. You said awesome. It sounded like culo, awesome. Okay. Again, the good thing is we can go back and listen to it, but it's more like, oh, awesome. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Oh, I'm in awe. I loved how you said too, it's safe to say. So it's good. You put in some very native, totally native idiomatic expressions that you popped in there. And that was great, but you didn't overdo it. Tampoco te pasaste, which I think is really important too, because if you're just throwing them in there, I had a student and the way she would show off, presumir, is just say all the idiomatic expressions that she knew. She would just spatter them out. Boop, boop, boop. I'm like, And I remember just saying once to her, I said, listen, Sarah, let's just say her name was Sarah. I go, Sarah, I love that you know all these idiomatic expressions, but you have to use them at the right time, not just, you don't just say in the middle of, nothing happened and you say, when in Rome, do as the Romans. And I'm like, sí, pero en referencia a qué? So remember, context is important in life. But I thought it was funny because she just loved to show me and the rest of the class how many idiomatic expressions she knew. And I thought it was great. But I'm like, you got to wait. The whole key there is waiting for the right moment to use it in a conversation or the next time you're conversing. Well, to be in a conversation, to converse. Same thing. Que no es lo mismo que converse. El verbo to converse es hablar, right? Hablar en una conversación. And well, speaking of conversing, I see we've got a lot of students here who are ready to converse with us on the show with no name. But I just wanted to say to Chris Valrol, excellent job. Chris, speaking of cake, you take the cake. You take the cake. Tú te llevas la palma y palmaditas también. All right, let's see what our amigos have to say on the show with no name. Let's go into our chat room. Everybody go boom, boom. There's Kubla. What's up, Kubla? He says, good morning, mesmerizing commoners. I beg to differ, good sir. There's nothing common about your classmates. They are extraordinary. They are out of this world. There's Laura. Speaking of extraordinary students, good morning, a wonderful show with no namers. Let's kickstart the week in the best possible way with our amazing teacher, Double A. Hey, wait, does that rhyme? Let's try that again. Here we go. Good morning, wonderful show with no namers. Let's kickstart the week in the best possible way with our amazing teacher, Double A. Nice, you're a poet, and you didn't even know it. Great job, Laura. Did you do that on purpose? Kubla says, you can say that again, Laura. Nice one, Kubla. You can say that again. Es una forma de decir, estoy totalmente de acuerdo. Repítelo, pero por mí ahora. You can say that again. No puedo estar más de acuerdo. Might be, another way of saying it. Cris Valrol, there she is, our birthday girl. Ooh, there's the magic. She says, good morning, awesome people. I absolutely agree, Laura. Awesome. Laura says, we see eye to eye, Kubla. Now, you guys are dropping some native idiomatic expressions, but you're doing them in context. That's what I'm talking about. Ahora sí. Let's see, Vero checking in. She says, morning, beautiful people. A bit under the weather today, but that's no excuse for not being here. Well, Vero, we hope that we can cheer you up and make you feel better. At least forget about the fact that you don't feel too good. Bueno, sería don't feel too well, pero Americanos, we don't care about the rules. As I told you, native speakers, grammar books, adult native speakers and grammar, we grab those in grade school and high school, but then we throw our grammar books out the window, right? So, Vero, I hope you feel better soon. Let's see. Nihad says, you are the secret ingredient to my happy day. Good morning, Alberto and friends. What's up, Nihad? A pleasure to have you here on board. Kubla says, rather than a pen and notebook, I use a Word document. Don't tell anybody. Well, I think you can use whatever works for you. I use my phone all the time. I dictate ideas into my phone, and then I later, when I have time, go back and look at those ideas. So whatever, there's no wrong way to take notes, Kubla. There's Born to Iron Man. He says, born to rock and roll. He says, I'm going to change your name. I like that better. Born to rock and roll, because that encompasses, engloba todo. Born to rock and roll. Born to rock. What about that, Born to Iron Man? He says, morning, amigos. What's up? Laura says, birds of a feather flock together. Dios los cría y ellos se juntan. I hope you feel better soon, Vero. Listening to the show with no name is going to make you feel better for sure. No doubt about it. Yeah. Vero says it's just a flu, una gripe. But the congestion is killing me. You know what works for me, Vero? I'm no doctor, so don't take medical advice from me. I have the same degree as Dr. Gates. Wait, is he a doctor or a software salesman? With moves, man boobs. Well, I'll tell you what works for me and Lara here at home, what we do. A steamy hot shower. Well, a bath in her case. And you cut up an onion. Yeah, I'm serious. And you sleep with that onion in your room. You put it in the, when you're taking a bath, I'll tell you something. That'll clear you up in a second, Vero. Anyway, I hope you feel better and don't take medical advice from me or Bill Gates. Kubla's taking a stab at today's Say What? Nope. Today's pop quiz. We haven't gotten to the Say What yet. And Kyle says, cortará mejor si lo afilas. And Kubla put, it'll cut better if you sharpen it. That's right, Kubla. It'll cut better if you sharpen it. Born to Iron Man, you got it. Laura, you got it. Vero, you got it. Nihad, you got it as well. Wow. It will, se puede contraer o no. Quizás más difícil. It will, pero yo diría it'll cut. Ya si la vez que ya sobrepasas 5,000 veces de decir it will, ya dices it'll. It'll cut better if you sharpen it. It's a great thing about that verb to cut. Why? Every day I cut fruit for my daughter. Yesterday, I cut fruit for my daughter. And lately, I've cut fruit for my daughter. Woo-hoo. Cut, cut, cut. Easy, easy. Just like the verb set or put. Set, set, set. Put, put, put. Cut, cut, cut. Any questions? I didn't think so. So it'll cut better if you sharpen it. And you know what? I want to give you another round of applause. Why? Well, I was expecting some people to say, if you sharp it. But you didn't. You used the verb to sharpen, which is interesting because I wasn't hoping, but I was like, oh, van a caer, a lo mejor van a decir sharp, como afilar. Pero eso es afilado. You said sharpen, so excellent, right? It's just like tight. Vamos a ver otros ejemplos. Tight es apretado. Apretar, tighten. Flojo is loose. Aflojar, loosen. See? These are little things, little tricks, little patterns, if you will, patrones en el idioma que podemos seguir. Estoy pensando en otros. So, tighten, loosen. What else did we say? Sharpen. I can't think of... Oh, straighten. Hacer que algo sea recto. Straighten. So, el verbo es recto, ¿no? Es straight o en línea. Y el verbo es to straighten. Pensamos en alisar el pelo, I think you say. I'm going to straighten my hair. Verbo. Once I do it, my hair won't be curly. It'll be straight. All right. Cool. Playing with words, guys. All right, let's see. Kubla says, way to go, Chris. Way to go, Chris. Good idiomatic expression. Way to go. Así me gusta, Chris. Dale fuerte. Carlos says, morning, AA and classmates. What's up, Carlos? Let's see. Vero says, hey, Chris Valrol, you sound great. No doubt about it. Let's see. Born to Iron Man says, amazing, Chris. Happy birthday. Laura says, happy birthday, Chris. What a sweet, heartwarming message. I agree. Chris, you are the best by far, says Nihad. Lupe says, morning, guys. Happy belated birthday, Chris. Leo says, hello, Vero. I hope you feel better soon. And he says, Chris, happy birthday. You will always be the cherry on top of the cake. Nice one. The cherry on top. You guys are on fire today. But I'll tell you what, we've got to go to a quick commercial break, folks. We'll be right back with tons more Show with No Name. So, if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the Show with No Name on Vaughn Radio. Yeah. All right. I just want to remind you guys that we've got some spots that are opened up for our summer camps. It's never too soon because they fill up quickly. So, one of the things is, if you're a Vaughn Radio listener, if you follow us on social media, then you're the first one to find out about when things go on sale. And right now, we've just opened up the window for our summer camps. They're in June, July, and August. You can do them weekly, or you can do them in a 15-day period. So, quincena, as you say, a fortnight, as the British say. And we've got lovely, lovely camps in El Guijo, Salamanca, en El Mazo, in Cantabria, en El Señorío de Zuasti, Navarra. 5 different locations available for kids from 6 to 18 years old. There's something for everybody. Water sports, activities, and the most important part is all in English. So if you want to get your kids out of the house, if you want your kids to learn English this summer, hey parents, you know what I'm saying. Let's translation. If you want to get your kids out of the house, barra have them learn English at this and not get in trouble and do something positive? Well, of course, you can find out more about our summer camps. Also, remember on the weekends here in Madrid, and I'm not sure if in our other offices we've got a lot of stuff for kids, and we've got something that is doing really, really well. The kids are reacting and really enjoying it, and that's our Disney programs on the weekends. Remember, if you want more information about anything we do here at Vaughn, it's real simple. Follow us on social media. You can even write us a message there. You can go to our website. It's grupovaughn.com. If what you're looking for is materials, you can go to vaughntienda.com. So what I recommend is follow us on social media, and then you will be in the know, enterados. All right, well, folks, it's time for today's Say What? Say what? What? That's right. That's right, amigos. Yeah. You know it. It's the Say What soundbite. We're going to hear a famous person speaking, and you guys have to tell me what's being said. We'll see if you recognize this very famous person. I think this person, at least in my country, everybody, at least from my generation back, would know this voice. I'm not going to give you any more clues because hopefully you guys will be able to figure it out on your own. All right, so as always, you're going to hear this 4 times. I'm going to play it for you twice now, and then we'll discuss. We'll talk about what you heard, and hopefully you guys will be able to make some sense of it. All right, here it is for the first time.
Alexander Hamilton said, "A nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one." Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war.
Whoa, it sounds pretty epic, doesn't it? Sounds like a war movie or something, like Final, Game or something. One of these like End Game. I don't know. Sounds pretty like apocalyptic even, maybe. All right, this is just my opinion. I want to hear your opinion. But let's play it for you a second time, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear some additional stuff in the second listen.
Alexander Hamilton said, "A nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one." Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war.
All right, there you go, folks. That's your Say What soundbite. Hopefully, you guys will be able to make some sense of it. Let's go on over to our chat room in the meantime, because we are flooded with comments, which is a beautiful thing. Inundados con comentarios. Salvador says, "Happy birthday, Chris. You're getting a lot of birthday love, and well-deserved, Chris, because you give a lot of love to us as well." Chris says, "Thank you, Alberto, and awesome classmates. My sister made the cake, and there's a virtual piece for all of you." Oh, thank you very much. Let's see. Salvador says, "Good morning, mates. I should be doing some boring stuff, but I thought, what the hell? I'm going to have an amazing English class with double A." Salvador, I'm sure whatever you were doing was important, but not as important as learning English. Hey, IMO, in my opinion. And by the way, what the hell? Pues no, ¿por qué perdemos? What the hell? I love it, Salvador. You sounded totally native over there. Let's see. Chris says, "Indeed, Alberto, onion works." Well, again, I'm not a doctor, but I know all of a sudden, when my wife slices up an onion, all of a sudden, everybody in the house can breathe a little bit better for some reason. Let's see. Beatriz says, "To lighten." Muy bien, to lighten up. to lighten, hacer más ligero, but also to lighten up. Si alguien está como muy frustrado, you're like, come on, man. Si lo está tomando las cosas a pecho, say, come on, man. You got to lighten up a little bit. Okay. So lighten, great word. Kubla's got some more examples. We looked at tighten, loosen, sharpen, afilar. We looked at that one in the example. Lengthen, alargar. To widen, ensanchar, is that how you say it? To make wider. To fasten. Well, this is to fast something. I don't know if this one has, because it doesn't really mean to make faster. This is a weird one, okay? Because fasten, like, it's a weird one. Fasten. Y latino lo pronunciamos fasten. ¿Te acuerdas? Fasten your seatbelts. It's abrochar. So that's a weird one. Hasten, to do something quickly. Sure, there are many, many examples. What I would do is take a look at the most common ones, like loosen, tighten, some of the ones we've looked at already. But again, you guys can come up with your own examples, and I think that's wonderful. That's exactly what you should be doing. Laura says to shorten. Sure. Acortar. Excellent. Excellent job. Beatriz says, good morning. All right. Good morning to you, Beatriz, and thank you for the lovely example. Let's see. Antonio says, good morning, friends. Good morning to you, Antonio. Welcome aboard. Leonardo says, I'm so mad about my son. I'm thinking of sending my son to West Point to learn English and something else. Oh, no, Leo. Well, you know what? If he's anything like my daughter right now, they're in the defiant stage. Okay, están en esto de, even before you say it, she said no. Am I right? And he, in your case, he. Because I'm in the phase where, Lara, no. I'm like, let me finish my sentence. And I'm learning because usually our tendency as humans is to go bigger. Like, oh, yeah, well, and I'm learning, okay, no, that's what she wants. She wants me to react. Because sometimes she'll even look at me like, is he giving me the reaction I want? I'm like, so a lot of times I'll give her an opposite reaction. She'll be like, no. I'll be like, okay, well, then we'll do, what do you want to do now? And then we can do that. She's like, oh, it didn't work. That Jedi mind shit. And Leo, I love that you said West Point. West Point is a military academy where George Washington, I think, went. It's a military academy not too far from my father's house. A beautiful, beautiful place. If you ever go visit, I used to go see football games, the Army versus the Navy. Really cool. And the grounds are beautiful. Las instalaciones, just beautiful property in New York. It's called West Point. So yeah, Leo's like, I'm sending him to West Point. Jaime says, it sounds like a politician talking about war and how important it is to prevent it. All right. Great job. That's what Jaime has to say about our Say What soundbite. Sounds like a politician talking. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. Let's see. Kubla says it sounded like an American male talking about American founding father Alexander Hamilton. Sorry, I can't read those words and say without singing it anymore. Alexander Hamilton, we are waiting in the wings for you. He discussed disgrace and danger, as well as setting the record straight between peace and war. Great job, Kubla. To set the record straight. Dejar las cosas claras. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Let's see. Leonardo says, sounds like a U.S. military or politician, okay, a soldier or a military personnel or politician quoting, citando, Alexander Harrison. No, me gusta su nombre que lo has inventado. Did you guys know about the unknown founding father, Alexander Harrison? No, okay, como es Hamilton. But ¿cómo vas a saber eso? Es historia americana de todas formas. But I know because obviously American history and the musical. Oh man, I love it. So Alexander Hamilton in front of, te falta el of ahí, Leo, in front of an audience who once said that a nation prepared for war is prepared to master. All right. Salvador. It sounds like a politician paving the way for all the tough situations and maybe even an upcoming war. All right, allanar el camino, to pave the way, setting. También decimos to set the stage for something. Montar el escenario, tener el escenario montado, to set the stage. Guys, really, really good idiomatic expressions that you guys are using today. And not just expressions, but you're using some great English. Laura says, I heard the voice of an American politician quoting Alexander Hamilton, and I can't, and setting the record straight about the fact that peace is always better than war. All right, which is weird because politicians, usually they're going the other way. Let's see. Well, there's money in war. There's no money in peace, right? Hey, I hate to be cynical, but that's the way it works. It's a business like any other business. Let's see. Nihad says, a veteran American military officer. Okay, so we got to put in officer. We don't say militar. Eso sí adjetivo, lo mismo que Leo. So a military officer or an armed forces officer, something like this. A veteran American military officer prefers disgrace to danger. He's insisting that there is no difference between war and peace. And for him, if you want peace, you have to prepare for war. All right, well, folks, I've got to tell you, this is wonderful. You did a great job. But now it's time to move on to another section, and that's today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
That's right, folks. It's our Spelling Bee over here. And as always, we've got to really pay attention in this section because this section is, I don't know, maybe you guys will disagree, but I think it is the toughest section, at least that first round, which seems almost impossible until one of you guys figures it out, or sometimes several. Varios. So, folks, here's your Spelling Bee, and this is round one. Write down these names here, and I want you to tell me what these names have in common. Are you ready? The first one is M-A-T-T space B-U-S-B-Y. The second one is G-E-O-F-F space B-E-N-T. The next one is R-O-G-E-R space B-Y-R-N-E. The next one is E-D-D-I-E space C-O-L-M-A-N. The fifth one is D-A-V-I-D space P-E-G-G. And the last one is D-U-N-C-A-N space E-D-W-A-R-D-S. All right, let me breathe for a second, will you? I'm out of breath. Seriously. My God. All right, I'll give you a little clue if you want. Let me see if I've got my clue on hand. There it is. A little clue to get you going. Una pista. Anybody get those words on the first go? If you did, it's impressive. I'll tell you that. It is impressive. I'll give you another minute or two, and we'll see what you guys come up with. All right. Let's see, or else we're going to go into round two, as you know. But I always like to assume that somebody is going to get these words. Going once, going twice. As soon as I hit that round two button, that round two bell, as soon as I ring the bell, it's not a button. I'm really ringing a bell here. These are real sound effects. I've got all these different things around my office. I've got these little percussion things that make that magical sound. No, I'm joking. All right, anyone? Oh, hang on. Hold the phone. It looks like we may have somebody who nailed it over here. Two people. Let's see. The first one to take a stab at it is your buddy, Born to Iron Man. Let's see how Born to Iron Man did. The first one is correct. The second one is correct. The third one is correct. Oh, I scared you. The fourth one is also correct. The fifth one is right. And the sixth one, giving it to Born to Iron Man. Born to rock and roll. Born to spelling bee. Born to do whatever you need. Ya tengo tu nombre, tío. Born to do whatever needs to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, unbelievable. Also, it looks like Kubla got it and Vero, and they look right, guys. So excellent job. Now, Born to Iron Man, Kubla, Vero, sit back, relax, go grab a cup of tea. You deserve it. You nailed it on the first go. Impressive. And the rest of you, well, I think this is fair enough. I think everybody should be able to figure it out. This is round two. The first person is MATT space BUSBY. The second person is GEOFF space BENT. The third name is ROGER space BYRNE. The next one is EDDIE space COLMAN. The fifth name is DAVID space PEGG. And the last one is DUNCAN space EDWARDS. Oof. Even that was hard for me, guys. Go easy on me. Go easy on me. All right. Did anybody get what they have in common? All right. Well, first of all, a round of applause. So many more people got it here on the second round. So fantastic job. Fantastic job. These were all people who were involved in the Munich air disaster. And what is the Munich air disaster? Well, it is a disaster that occurred today, on this date, in 1958, when a British European Airways, they don't exist anymore, when their flight 609, vuelos flight, right? So fly es volar, flight es vuelo. Have a nice flight, not have a nice fly. So flight 609 crashed on its third attempt to take off, and the runway was covered in slush. Okay. Slush is agua nieve, I believe you call it. Okay. Piensa un slushy de 7-Eleven. Son de agua nieve con azúcar y colorante, right? Food coloring, right? Food coloring. That's a logical word, isn't it? Okay, so basically, they were at Munich Rhein Airport. This is in Munich, in West Germany at that time. And the aircraft was carrying MU, Manchester United, Man U. I mean, Busby. These guys were called Busby's Babes because the manager's name was Matt Busby. And Matt Busby is a legend in the club's history. And he survived. In fact, the first person on our list is the manager, Matt Busby, and he did survive the crash. But 44 people were on board total. A bordo, you can say aboard or on board. Aboard is una palabra. And 20 of them died at the scene, right? 20 of them died at the scene. And man, imagine that. 3 attempts. I don't know. After the first or second, I'm like, you know what? I think this plane should not be taking off tonight. There's we have this expression, safety first. And I think it's never said better than in the aviation industry, the automobile industry. These are places where you don't want to cut corners. And to cut corners is acortar, ¿no? Intentar escatimar un poco y recortar, hacer recortes. So there was a communication error, as many accidents, especially air accidents. It's a chain of events. So the first person, Matt Busby, as I said, he was the manager and he survived this crash. The next person is Jeff Bent. And Jeff Bent was one of the players. I don't know any of these players, but I'm looking them up. He was a fullback, and he was one of the 8 players that lost their lives. A fullback is when they played with 3 defenders. He was one of the ones who stayed back. Think about it. They stay back. So we'll learn some positions here too. Roger Byrne was the next one. And he was the captain of Manchester United. He died at 28 years old. As I said, a lot of these guys were young, right? He lost his life that day. He had made 33 appearances for the England national team. So he was a bit of a better player. Also, he was the captain. We've got Eddie Coleman, and this guy, man, he looked like a kid. He was 21 years old. So imagine, he's like, mate, I'm on Manchester United. I'm a young kid. I've got the future ahead of me. And no, not anymore. And another player who lost his life that tragic day. The next one is that was Eddie Coleman, the 21-year-old. David Pegg, he died as well. And he was 22. So another youngster, otro jovenzuelo aquí, that lost his life far too young. And the last one, Duncan Edwards. Now, Duncan Edwards, this is crazy. He died as a result of the Munich air disaster. He survived the crash, but he had so many injuries that after 2 weeks in the hospital, what happened was they couldn't mend him back to health, and he lost his life. And some people say he was one of the best players at that time, and some say he was the best player that they ever played with. So a tragedy. I know there are documentaries, there are obviously articles written on this story. It's called the Munich air disaster, or you can even look up Busby's Babes, which is the name of the team or the nickname that this Manchester United team, like they had in Spain, La Quinta del Buitre, same kind of deal. Well, folks, I can't believe it, but we have to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with tons more. So stick around. Yeah. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. We've got so much to go. I can't believe it, folks. So much to do here on the show with no name. Don't forget, you got great programs all afternoon long here on Vaughn Radio. You've got Guy Williams and Western Civilizations, and don't forget, he's hosting our next trivia night. It's March 1st. That's right. March 1st at Roll Madrid. And congratulations to our winners. Man, we came in second place. I never do really well at anything. And I was lucky I had a lot of Spanish people on my team because Richard Vaughn was asking a lot of Spanish trivia questions. Well, I hope you guys can make it. It's March 1st. But if not, you can learn from Guy every single day on Western Civilizations. Or you can be entertained by my buddy Dave Boys and his program, The Salad. You never know what to expect from Dave Boys. He's wacky. The man of a million voices. And as you guys know, he plays instruments. I mean, Dave Boys, what a talented team here at Vaughn Radio. And don't forget about our newest edition, Jules Linares. So the best way to make sure you never miss a show is download our free app. All right, well, amigos, we've got a lot to do, so let's keep rocking and rolling with today's homophones.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, it's homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Show it homophones. Show it no.
That's right, folks. That's right. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And here's where I give you guys two words, and you guys have to tell me what the words are and if they sound exactly the same or not. So if I said the words out of context, you wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about. All right. The first word is a word that I'm sure all of you are familiar with. Why? Because I say it all the time. And that word is tipos, amigos, gente. Okay? I say, okay, chicos, chicas. Now, normally it means tipos. It's masculine. But in the United States, we use it to mean vosotros. So you, tú. You, vosotros. Now, lately, I read on Twitter, I think it's absurd, maybe some people saying, I'm not a tipo. You catch my drift. I'm not trying to insult anyone or anything. It's just, how I differentiate and 300 million other people, one thing is being offensive when one thing is finding everything offensive. You catch my drift. Because you can say, I say amigos, but then somebody can say, but what about the amigas? I'm like, well, I mean everybody, So no, it's not what you mean. It's the words. No, it's my intention. Trust me, I know. So there's a war on words, and words are very important. Can't change words in the middle of this doesn't mean that anymore. Then we get into some 1984 shit, some Orwellian stuff. All right, so the first word, I say it all the time. Es tipos, es gente, es plural. Cuando queremos distinguir entre tú y vosotros, americanos a veces usamos esto como el vosotros, okay? And the second word is appearance. In Spanish, aspecto, apariencia. It's also your pretense. Pose, disfraz, disimulo. Okay? Those are the two words. Now, what we're going to do, of course, is we're going to look at them in context, right? And we'll take a look. We'll see what you guys think of those words. Again, the first word, if you don't know it, you haven't been paying attention here on the show. The second word, I think, might be new to some of you, and it's aspecto, apariencia, your appearance or your pretense. Pose, disfraz, disimulo. Those are your words in today's homophone section. I'm also going to give you guys today's Say What soundbite. And by the way, I think we've got a winner over here. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for your classmate, Kubla. Nice job, Kubla. He nailed the Say What soundbite. Wonderful job. Wonderful job. Well, here it is for the third time, guys. Please write down what you hear.
Alexander Hamilton said a nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one. Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war.
All right. There you go, my amigos. That's the third listen of today's Say What soundbite. Let's see. Let's go on over here to our chat room. Peter says, hey, ho, let's go. What's up, Peter? I'm glad you're psyched. Let's see. Chris says, nowadays, amigos, amigas, amigues. If you guys or anybody thinks that I'm going to say all three of those words every time I got to say amigos, or I'm going to here's my point. I'm not a racist. I'm not a bigot. I'm not against anybody's sexual preference, against anybody's color. So that's me. And if I say a word, if you're offended, then just don't listen. That's what I say. Like, now I'm going to walk around saying, oh God, but I was offended because you didn't include me. I'm like, well, what if I told you I did include you? No, you didn't. So now you're telling me what I meant. Oh, wow. This is interesting. How does that work? See, it's a slippery slope trying to tell people what to say. I know you're joking, Chris, but if you insist that we change the language that's older than God knows what, well, have fun. Have fun. I'm not on board. I know you're joking, Chris. Chris is, by the way, she's got time to make some jokes and also to participate in the different challenges. She's participating. She's participating in the Homophones Challenge. And yes, Chris, these are the two words. So you're off to a good start here. And she says, I think they could be homophones. Let's see. Kubla says it's and they rhyme. Okay. Vero agrees. Laura says the two words are homophones as well. So that's four of my amazing students are telling me that these two words sound the same. All right, well, let's say the words. Hey, guys, how many times do I say guys in a show? And again, let me specify for anyone who wants to be offended. When I say guys, I mean gente. Now, si no te incluyes en gente, I just don't know what to tell you. You're an alien, then go to another planet. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with people here, and I don't care. That's why I don't even ask people their sexual preference. I don't think it's any of my business. No es asunto mío who you sleep with or who you don't sleep with. And I think it would be presumptuous of me to ask that question. So when somebody's like, what's your preference? I'm like, excuse me? Who are you? It's weird, man. I have to say, it's really, really weird. All right. So let's take a look then at these two words. The first word, as I said, I say a million times a day. Guys. Hey, guys. Again, I've had people even 20 years ago say, guys, we're not guys. And I'm like, okay, pretend you don't understand me. Then we're going to really make progress in our conversation. Pretend you didn't understand what I meant, and then we can just stay here instead of taking your order. Al final yo era el camarero. Déjame tomarte nota. You see what I'm saying? You get your food, and I get you the fuck out of here. That's my philosophy. Oh, no, we can let's sit here and argue about semantics. You want to argue about semantics with this smart-ass waiter in New York City? Este camarero listillo. Wow, exciting trip to New York you've got here. All right, guys and gals and everything in between. All right, guys. And the second word? Well, think about it. I'm sure maybe if you haven't heard the word guys, you've heard of the word disguise. right? Transformers, robots in disguise, disfrazados. So a disguise is un disfraz. So quitamos el dis ahí y es el aspecto. Let me give you in context over here, some examples from word reference. He came to the meeting in the guise of a farmer, right? Vino a la reunión con el aspecto, apariencia de agricultor, okay? Or it's a pretense. So she requested the information under the guise of friendship, ¿no? Bajo el pose, el disfraz, disimulando que era mi amiga, pero para sacar mi información. You get what I'm saying? That guise too. So vamos a verlos otra vez. He came to the meeting. No, vamos a decir, los chicos vinieron a la reunión con aspecto de granjero. The guys came to the meeting in the guise of a farmer. Do they sound the same? Absolutely. Okay, and the other expression is, the other usage is under the guise of, right? With the pretense of doing something. Pidió la información bajo la pose de un amigo. She requested the information under the guise of friendship. And Kubla is telling me we have the same word in Spanish, de esta guisa. Look at that. Oh, yes, sí pone a guisa de, me pone aquí. Well, look at that, guys. Look at that, guys. So, yes, they are homophones. And Kubla, you changed your answer here at the end, I see. But you shouldn't have done that. Also, a nice round of applause for Laura. Laura has figured out the Say What soundbite as well. Okay, my amigos, what do we have to do now? We've got to go to one of my favorite places. And guys, what do you think? Today, I think since it's Chris Valrol's birthday and she loves the movies, I say we treat her to the movies. La invitamos nosotros. What do you think? Yeah? All right, let's do this. It's time for Name That Movie. Name That Movie. Oh, by the way, save yourself an hour and a half and 10 euros. And don't go see the new M. Night Shyamalan, however, no sé cómo se dice su nombre. The guy from, the director of Signs, Señales, or The Sixth Sense. I see dead people. You say, a veces veo muertos. He says, I see dead people. That movie's good. Signs is good. A Knock at the Cabin is the biggest piece of crap I've seen in a long time. So save yourself the trouble. I mean, unless you're a huge M. Night Shyamalan, I don't know how to say his name. Ese tío de Sexto Sentido. The movie was absolute garbage. Yeah. The same way I like the new Guy Ritchie movie, El Nuevo de Guy Ritchie, está muy bien. Y es su estilo. There's nothing, like, wow, he just reinvented the wheel. No, Guy Ritchie directed a movie that Guy Ritchie would direct. You know what I mean? And it's Jason Statham. O sea, no se desvía, but it works. It works. It's entertaining, and the movie goes by pretty quickly. But this one, my wife and I had a date night. And when you're a parent, time is scarce. You don't get a lot of free time together, especially to go to the movies, go have, a drink or something. So we felt scammed, estafados. I'm going to write a letter to M. Night Shyamalan, or however you say his name. It was horrible. I mean, the premise was just ridiculous. And usually if they tell you that everything about the movie and why they're there and everything in the first 20 minutes, why are you watching the rest of the movie? If there are no twists, so hay giros. Because they just told you everything that happens in the movie. It would be like me at the beginning of the show with no name telling you all the answers, and then let's go over them. It's like, wait, but isn't that the wrong order? Now, I will agree this is true. The cinematography was beautiful, but I wouldn't expect anything less from an accomplished director. No, la fotografía, preciosa. The music, the scoring, excellent. right? Even the acting, most of it was good, but the story sucked. I'm like, you can't make a 90-minute movie out of this, you know? So that's the point. That's the point there. So guys, oh, can I say guys, or I'm not allowed to say that right now? All right, so guys, gals, and everything in between. Imagínate cada vez que tuvieras que decir eso. Guys, gals, aliens, cats, feline, canines, and yeah, well, don't leave out the dogs. Poor dogs. Oh man. All right, I've taken it too far. Let's take a look at today's Name That Movie, folks. Here is your trailer. A teenage boy named Max and his little sister move to Salem, where he struggles to fit in before awakening a trio of diabolical witches that were executed in the 17th century. Wow, sounds pretty exciting. Not my style, but it sounds pretty exciting. So, during, a teenage boy, fácil, teenager, de 13 a 18, 19, bueno, 19 también, ya es 20. A teenage boy named Max and his little sister se trasladan a Salem. You know Salem, the Salem witch trials, the famous cacería de brujas, Salem, Massachusetts, where he struggles, lucha, para encajar, to fit in. Before awakening, despertar, antes de despertar, a trio of diabolical witches that were ejecutadas, in the 17th century. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have got it. It is our amiga, and I didn't doubt it for a second. It's Cris Valrol. Nice job, Cris Valrol. Another, why not? Give her another one. One for the birthday. The movie is Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus, Alakazam, Abracadabra. These are all the magic words. Hocus Pocus, right? Let's take a look. I've got some comments coming in over here as well before we take a look at the scene. Let's see. Leonardo, excellent expression. That's a blessing in disguise. No hay mal que por bien no venga, ¿no? Que algo que pareció negativo al principio acabó siendo una bendición. A blessing disfrazado. Una bendición disfrazada. Excellent expression. Vero says, when I was a kid and anyone talked to me and my friends or family saying chicos, I didn't feel offended. As I see it, today's society is getting a thin skin. Oh, well, you know what? The thing is, Vero, I don't think it's most people. I think there's just like a very small, because most people I know don't care, about what you call them, or they're not interested in the semantics of things. They're interested in how you treat them, right? Or they're not interested in your political part. I'm not going to be friends with him because he's not the same political. It's this division is not normal. Okay, so I remember we would look for things that brought us together when I was a kid, not, well, you think this and I think this, I hate you. And it's like, whoa, I thought tolerance was the main idea here and how we all live as a society. Am I wrong? All right, well, so I don't know. It's also like, somebody can't tell you that you're being offensive if you're really not. You're like, I'm not offending anyone. And my intention is to literally say people. Well, then say people. Well, I don't want to. That's not how I learned to speak. Okay, you're telling me my mother doesn't speak correctly, and I won't accept that. Are you insulting my mother? So I turn it. I'm very good at, with these people, I know what you're saying, the people who lack thick skin, les faltan esa piel. I just pretend I'm offended by something they said. Me hago el ofendido también. I'm like, oh, no, how could you? No, whoa. Not everybody. How could you say that? So it's easy to be offended. That's the way I see it. That's easy. Let's see. Chris says, I was wondering if you and your wife liked this movie. 2 thumbs down, Chris. Don't waste your time. Laura said, I agree, Vero. I think they're taking it too far. So there we go. 2 of the sweetest people I know in the world. Laura, this is the example where it's not all of us. Most people are normal, but the media sells a different thing. But look at that. Vero and Laura, 2 of the sweetest people I know, are saying, well, I think we've gone too far with the politically correct bullshit. I mean, we're all nice people, but now you're going to tell me what I can and can't say. That's called censorship. And remember, in history, anybody who's ever been on the side of censorship has always been wrong. Remember that. If you've been on the side of censorship, la censura, in your life, look through history. You in the end, sooner or later, you're on the wrong side of that picket line. Esa protesta. So interesting, really interesting that two of the sweetest people in the world say, yeah, I agree with being sweet and treating people with respect, and I would never want to offend anyone, but don't tell me now, don't change my, how I speak now because it offends you. Just don't listen to me. There are a million other people you can listen to in the world, right? You don't have to, again, since when do we have to please everybody? Since when is that a realistic goal? The day my life became a lot easier is when I realized you're not going to please everyone. Not everybody's going to like you. Some people are going to hate you and they don't even know you. That's not your problem. The same way if somebody loves you, it doesn't mean you're awesome. It just means somebody loves you. Somebody loves what you do, right? So if we take it all that way, well, then we're all just on the same level. And that's something my parents have taught me, to be inclusive of everyone, women, men, color, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter their sexual preference. So now that we're making an issue where, I don't know if of course, there are always bigots. Bigots son gente que odian a otra gente que no es como ellos. That you're going to find them everywhere. But most of us are just normal, loving people in society, I believe. I'd like to believe that at least. Kubla says, would you call it a ripoff? The movie. Yeah, well, movies in general, it's a ripoff. $10 plus popcorn. In general, the movie-going experience is a ripoff, yes. And then if the movie sucks, I wish I could get my money back. Seriously, I wish. I really do. Let's see. Vero also figured out today's Say What soundbite. Great job, Vero. And also, Vero and Kubla named that movie in Spanish, El Retorno de las Brujas. Thank you, Chris. You knew I was going to get a kick out of that one, right? El Retorno de las Brujas in Spanish. Hocus Pocus, Alakazam, right? El Retorno de las Brujas. It's great. Unbelievable. All right, so let's take a look at the scene from this movie. Even though, wait, I'll tell you what, we've got a lot of comments. We'll read your comments and then we'll take a look at the scene. Let's see. El Retorno de las Brujas. Me parto. Salvador says they have gone so far as to redesign traffic signs to be more inclusive. Hey, again, Salvador, I believe we shouldn't exclude anybody from society ever, under any circumstances. But also, I believe that we have bigger fish to fry. I think we have bigger things, more important things we can spend our money, como contribuyentes. It's not the government's money. Don't forget that ever. A lot of times like, ellos se gastan el dinero. No, ellos se gastan nuestro dinero, our money. That's the part that pisses me off. It's like, wait, so there's not enough money to have a doctor at the health center, but we're going to change every street light when they work perfectly? Are we okay? I'm inclusive. This doesn't mean, and this is now somebody saying, you're not inclusive. I'm like, no. I just think that that's a waste of money. That has nothing to do with what they resemble, what the symbol is. It has nothing to do with that. So this is the game too. Like if you disagree with anything, it's like, you're a sexist, you're a racist, you're a bigot. It's like, you are labeling people, and that's very dangerous. So again, you can go round and round here. Let's see. Anybody else? What time is it in Spain right now? Matias, don't ask me questions that Google can answer for you. I get that a lot on Twitter. Somebody's like, ¿Cómo se dice mesa en inglés? I'm like, you really think I'm here to Google stuff for you? Right now, I don't know. I don't even have a watch on. So, Matias, when you find out, let me know too. Oh, man. All right. Kubla says, bigot, sectario. Yeah, well, that's what it is now. It's like, oh, you don't agree that everybody should be allowed to use every bathroom? You're a bigot. What? No, I just don't want any man, and I'm not saying somebody with a sexual preference. I'm saying a man, okay, whatever you define as a man, I define someone with a penis as a man. Just that's what I was taught in anatomy class. I don't want that person looking at my daughter when she's in the bathroom. No thanks. And if we have to, then let's spend the money on a bathroom for people who are undecided, right? That's fine. You get your own bathroom. That's awesome. Then you don't have to worry about anybody else being offended, since we don't want to offend people, do we? Because that's a crime. All right, folks. You got me going. You got me going. Esto es culpa vuestra, guys. You got me charged up, but I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun as well. We have to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back with what I can't believe will be the fourth and final part of today's show. So if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Welcome back to part four. Part four of today's show. And we got a lot to cover, folks. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready for a rocky ride. Lots of R's. Rawr, 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 rawr. Don't forget to download our free Vaughn Radio app, and this way you never miss an episode of your favorite programs, whether it be The Salad, Drive Time, No Excuses, Let's Get Random, or any of the amazing shows on Vaughn Radio. And remember, if you don't want to download the app, which I have both, I have the app on my phone, but also I subscribe to the show with no name on Apple Podcasts. You can find the show with no name on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Spotify. You can also find it on iVox and possibly a few others. All right, well, folks, we've got a lot to do. So I think first let's kick off with our Double Trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. It's Double Trouble only on the show with no name. And as you know, this is a section of the show where we take a look at a translation with a twist. That's right. So what you're going to see right now is a tough one. And estás difícil, I think. I think this one's going to be on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to give this one a 7. So Good luck, guys. It won't be easy, but it'll be doable. Okay? Asequible. Okay? Cuando te cortas el pelo la próxima vez, hazte un corte por encima de los hombros. Y ya está. A correr. Voilà. Okay, so, cuando te cortes, cortas, cuando te cortes, because we don't know, es subjuntivo. Lo he pillado, ¿eh? Cuando te cortes el pelo la próxima vez, ¿no? Cuando vayas a la peluquería, hazte un corte, o que te hagan, mejor dicho en inglés, un corte por encima de los hombros. Y ya está. Y a correr. Voila. Okay? That is your double trouble. We'll see how you guys did over there. Also, I'm going to give you the Say What soundbite. This is the fourth and final listen.
Alexander Hamilton said a nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one. Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war.
All right, there you go, folks. That is your Say What soundbite for the fourth time. Many of you have gotten it already. Hopefully, a couple other people will be able to figure it out before the end of the show. And speaking of figuring it out, has anybody figured out today's double trouble? Let's take a look. I've got a lot of people. Oh, you know what's interesting? Then when I bring up my opinions about things, which I usually don't, as you know, I find a lot of people agree with me, and a lot of people who I wouldn't think would agree with me. Like people I'm like, well, my mother's way more conservative, or my friend is way more left wing. Because I consider myself, when people ask me, are you left wing or right wing? I say, well, I'm not going to define myself in the category, A. And also, what does that mean? Because when I was younger, left wing was a different thing than now. Like, they change definitions of things too. So then you're like, well, then I'm not going to play the game. You change what each thing means, then I'm not going to play your game. I'll be independent of all those categories. I'll be a person, all inclusive, a human. Can we still say that? ¿Se puede decir humano? O eso ya es, porque tiene la palabra man. Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm just saying. Somebody will find, I'm sure there's an article out there, probably BuzzFeed or one of these guys, with their agendas of, oh, guys, forget it, and it's okay. Again, I respect everybody's opinions, but that means you've got to respect mine too, right? So, all right, but let's change gears, because I don't want to get into this debate here, even though I see everybody's agreeing with me here, and I'm up for healthy debate. What I'm not up for is slinging insults, categorizing somebody because it's convenient for you, for your narrative. You're this. Well, you haven't even spoken to me. Let's a dialogue is how we speak. Left, right, center, and everybody else. That's how you get things done, not yelling and name calling. I think. Call me crazy, or maybe I just come from a Christian traditional family. I don't know. I don't consider myself traditional or Christian. So that's interesting too. Now, cuando te cortas el pelo, capullos, you guys are getting me going today, huh? Cuando te cortes el pelo la próxima vez, hazte un corte por encima de los hombros. Y ya está. Y a correr. I've heard that one. Sé que la de a correr lo usáis. Lo he oído varias veces. Y a correr. All right, I'll tell you what. Since we have to figure out today's Name That Movie, well, we already know the movie Hocus Pocus, and we don't have to figure it out. What we need to do is go through the scene that I've chosen. We'll do that, and then we'll come back to the double trouble. So I'm going to give you guys more than enough time to figure out today's double trouble. Here's the movie Hocus Pocus, as Cristina pointed out, and it came out in 1993. And Jay says, so let's have a butt. Jay says, let's have a butt. What? Let's have a butt. Un culo. No, a butt is also a cigarette, which is interesting because a cigarette butt es la colilla. It's what you put out, apagar, in the ashtray. But when I was a kid, at least, in the 90s, we called a butt. You got a butt? It meant a cigarette. No significaba la colilla. Significa el cigarro entero, not just the filter smushed up. Okay? So let's have a butt. Vamos a fumarnos un piti would be the translation, possibly. And Max says, no thanks. I don't smoke. Yo no fumo. And Ernie says, that's very health conscious in Los Angeles. Oh, no, perdona, no me cuadraba. Ellos son muy conscientes de su salud, muy sanos, se diría. They're very health conscious in Los Angeles. Absolutely true, by the way. Okay. They only take natural things into their body. Unless we're talking about Botox, then everything goes. Todo vale. I'll stop. So they're very health conscious in Los Angeles. And then they laugh. Se ríen de los angelinos. And Jay says, you got any cash, Hollywood? Le llaman Hollywood. ¿Tienes pasta? And he says, no. And Ernie says, G. G es como, wow. No lo sabía. We don't get any smokes from you. No nos pillas ningunos cigarros. So another way to say it, smokes, cigarettes. Los británicos dicen fags, que es una palabra bastante ofensiva en mi país. We don't get any smokes from you. We don't get any cash. What am I supposed to do with my afternoon? ¿Qué se supone que voy a hacer con mi tarde? And Max says, well, maybe you could learn to breathe through your nose. A lo mejor puedes aprender a respirar por la nariz. To breathe through your nose. And Jay laughs, se ríe, but stops as Ernie glares at him offensively. And to glare es mirar con mirada, te voy a matar. Esa mirada. Are you glaring at me? It means you're very angry. And he says, whoa, whoa es tranquilo. W-H-O-A. Whoa. Que no es lo mismo que wow. Whoa, whoa. He goes, check out the new cross trainers. Échale un vistazo a mis nuevos zapatillas cross trainers, que son un tipo de zapatillas. And Ernie looks at his sneakers. The British call them trainers. We call them sneakers. And he looks at his sneakers and he says, cool. And he turns to Max and he says, let me try them on. Now, fijaos en esto. To try es probar. Pero probar ropa, we say to try on. To try something on, okay? And since it's sneakers, plural, let me try them on. And Max tries to leave. And Jay stops him and smiles. And he says, later, dude. Esto es como nos decíamos adiós cuando yo, en los 90. Ahora es un poco, se quedó en los 90. But later, dude. Later, skater. And Ernie jokes with him. He says, see ya in Hollywood. See ya. Asiento. See ya. See ya? All right, so this is Hocus Pocus, and it came out in the year 1993. All right, let's see if anybody got today's double trouble over here. Let's see. The first person to participate is Laura, and Laura says, next time you get a haircut, get a bob cut, and voila. All right, Laura, I like it, and technically it's a double trouble. Because you used get twice, and you used cut twice. So next time you get a haircut, get a bob cut, and voila. Well, it's right, Laura. So to get a haircut, we don't say, I heard somebody say, I'm going to cut my hair. Don't. Get a haircut, better. Déjalo con un profesional. So no es me voy a cortar el pelo. En English, we say, voy a obtener un corte de pelo. I'm going to get a haircut. Y luego la broma es, you should get a few cut. A hair, voy a hacer que me corten un pelo. Que no me corto un pelo. So next time you get a haircut, get a bob cut. Y sí, se llama a bob, este corte de mujeres que tienen. And it's just right over the shoulders. You know, it's called the bob. It frames your face. Encuadra tu cara. I don't know very much about haircuts, but I know that that's the idea behind it. Let's see. Carlos says, you're a riot, Alberto. Carlos. Eso es una manera muy nativa de decir, me parto contigo. You're a riot, Alberto. Let's see. Vero says, next time you get a haircut, get a bob cut, and voila. I like it. I like it. Let's see. Next time you go get a haircut, get a bob cut and bob up. I like it, Chris. You're on the right track. Definitely on the right track. All right. Are you ready for this one? This is crazy here. When you get your next haircut, get a bob And Bob's your uncle. What? I know what you're thinking. What? Yeah, and Bob's your uncle. Y Bob es tu tía. Es tu tío, perdona. You know this one? And Bob's your uncle. Vamos a buscarlo. And Bob's your uncle. Es como decir voila. And Bob, let's see. And Bob is, no sé por qué no lo encuentra aquí. Okay, Bob's your uncle. Bob's your uncle, meaning, es como, y voila, y ya está. So it's used to express the ease with which a task can be achieved. O sea, demuestra, y ya está, y un please plus, ¿no? Como acabo de decir, y a tirar, right? I mean, y facilísimo, así y lo tienes hecho, voila, a correr, y ya está, y punto. Right? So it's a way of saying, y ya no queda más, ahí lo tienes hecho. And Bob's your uncle. Te lo juro. You're thinking, what? Yeah. And Bob's your uncle, significa, y voila, y presto. Speaking of magic words before, hocus pocus, presto. So when you get your next haircut, get a bob. You can say a bob or a bob cut, as many of you said. And Bob's your uncle. Y ya está. Y a tirar. All right, there you go, folks. I don't think you would have guessed that one in a million years, but that is totally native. And Bob's your uncle. All right, well, folks, I think it's time to move on to your joking. Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar. You're joking. That's right, amigos. You're joking only on the show with no name. Let's take a look at today's jokes and we'll see if you get them or not. If you get them, you can explain them to your fellow students. All right, what's the difference between baseball and politics? Y la política. Remember, politician is the person. What's the difference between baseball and politics? In baseball, you're out if you're caught stealing. You get it? Well, in baseball, you can steal a base. So let's say you hit the ball and you get a single. So you go to first base. But while the next batter is batting, the pitcher's not paying attention. You can steal the base. To steal is ganar una base. Okay? It's dangerous because if they tag you, you're out. Okay? And that's an out. But if they don't, you get to the next base. Avanzas. So it's called stealing a base in baseball. If you want to learn more about baseball, there's a baseball episode of FYI where I talk about, well, I cover all the bases. Hablo de todo, cubro todo lo que hay que cubrir. There are many, many idiomatic expressions that come from baseball. So in baseball, you're out if you're caught stealing. Si te pillan robando la base, te echan. En la política, no. You're not out. You can steal and stay in office for a long time. We've seen it. We've seen it over and over. All right, here's another one. Where do polar bears vote? Where do polar, ¿te suena? Osos polares. Where do polar bears vote? Easy. In the North Pole. No. In the North Pole? Well, a poll es una votación. They did a poll, and Biden's popularity is, right, a poll, una encuesta, sondeo, votación. De hecho, cuando decimos next month, people are going to the polls, van a votar. Okay? So, esto es P-O-L-L. North Pole is P-O-L-E, Polo Norte. So, they sound the same. They're homophones, but they're not spelled the same. So, you get it? Where do polar bears vote? In the North Pole, en la votación, en el sondeo del norte. El polo. Okay, here's one. Where can children vote? Okay, where can children go and vote? Oh, that's easy. In the swing states. No? children can vote in the swing states. Columpio is a swing. Do you know the term swing state? It's a territory that's not decided yet. O sea, que it's a close call. Seguro que hay en España. Como, está muy dividido entre estos dos partidos. So, un estado pendular, estado en disputa. Piénsalo. It's a pendulum. It swings. It could go either way. Puede tirar Democratic or Republican. It's right. It's pretty hard to call. Como decimos, it's a close call. A close call, right? So, you get it now? Where do children go to vote? In a swing state. Sounds like fun. Sounds a lot funner than it is. All right, well, folks, we've got to move on. So I think it's time for today's famous birthdays.
One, two, three. Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays. Birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's famous birthdays only on the show with no name. And let's take a look at today's famous birthdays. The first person was born in the year 1957. An American actress and comedian. She was in Soap Dish. I don't know what it was called in Spanish, but she was also in Sister Act. Remember the one about the nuns, Las Monjas? She was in Hocus Pocus in 1993. We looked at that today in our Name That Movie. She was also in The Wedding Planner, very, very popular movie from 2001. She was in Rat Race. That was a big year for her because that was another big movie that year. Hocus Pocus 2, which came out this past year in 2022. And she also voiced Peggy on King of the Hill. King of the Hill, the famous Fox, Fox is in Estados Unidos, but King of the Hill, 1997 to 2010, she voiced Peggy. She also starred in WALL-E. You'll recognize her voice. This is why it's important to see stuff in its original version, because then you'll say, oh, wow, she's awesome. One of the most talented actresses and voice actresses living today. And she was born today in 1957. This guy was born in 1945, and he loves to wail. Gemir? Bueno, his guitars. And one thing he loved to do was to jam, improvisar con la música. He even said it in his songs. We're jamming, we hope you like jamming too. We're jamming, and then get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. Here he's saying stand up como álzate. Get up stand up for your rights. Defiende a tus derechos. So no es solo ponerse de pie, pero it's also the figurative sense. And this guy, probably the foremost reggae artist, really the ambassador of reggae. You say reggae, we say reggae. And last but not least, this guy was born in 1911. He was an actor who became the president of the United States. And he was an interesting dude. Interesting. I remember him being at least charismatic. Now, you can argue about, his policies and all of that stuff, but the guy was pretty charismatic. And I remember he was the first president I remember. When I was born, I believe it was Gerald Ford, but I was too young. So I remember seeing him, giving speeches on TV. And, the first president I remember in the United States based on my timeline of my life. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got our winner, the birthday girl over here, Chris Valrol. Number 1, Kathy Najimy. Number 2, Bob Marley. And Bob's your uncle. Get it? Bob Marley and Bob's your uncle. Imagine if Bob Marley was your uncle. And the last one was Ronald Reagan, which brings us to today's Say What soundbite. This is Ronald Reagan very eloquently and passionately giving a speech. You can see that he's got that acting background. Again, you could like the current president of the United States, but there's one thing I can tell you, zero charisma, right? or zero communication skills, which is the minimum we need, I think. And this guy was you could like him, you could not like him, but one thing's true. He was a great communicator. And he said, Alexander Hamilton said a nation that can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master, un amo, and deserves one. Y se merece uno. Now let's set the record straight. Los puntos sobre las IES. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war. Here he is, folks, Ronald Reagan.
Alexander Hamilton said a nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one. Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war.
All right, folks, and now it's time for our final section, Name That Lyric.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is... No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. Name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's Name That Lyric only on the show with no name, and thank you. Thank you for the magic that you bring every day here to the show with no name. You guys are awesome. Happy birthday to Chris. I'm so glad you were able to celebrate even the day after with us. And great job to all of you. Really, I'm proud of you. I know your other teachers are proud of you too here on Vaughn Radio. So keep up the great work. Keep listening to our shows all day long. And you're going to learn even, you'll get the Irish accent from Fitz. You'll get that Australian thing from our friend Tosh Pasqua and the Canadian sound. You'll get it all here on Vaughn Radio for free. Remember, if you love Vaughn Radio, spread the word. Tell your friends. Don't keep it to yourself. If you'd like to send us a message too, like Chris has done and Kubla and many of my friends from back in the day, you can send me a message to Alonso at Grupo Vaughn. Son dos A's. Alonso at grupovaughn.com. And we'd love to hear from you. Just keep it under a minute. Folks, let me give you today's song. It's Redemption Song by Bob Marley. What a beautiful song it is. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, redemption songs. And one of the best lines ever is in that song. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Solo tú puedes librar tu mente. So what a great line. What an amazing song. Thank you so much to all of you. And we'll be back tomorrow with more. Boom, 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 boom. Woo! Sing it with me. Oh, pirates, yes, they roll by. So better if he does it.
Whoa!